just around the corner. Any cozy little corner.
Welcome to Hollywood Bulletin, where we take you behind the scenes of the biggest legends in entertainment history. And today's story is one that's as unforgettable as the stars involved. We're diving deep into the friendship, fallout, and final heartbreak between two of the coolest icons to ever grace a stage, Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra. These weren't just members of the Rat Pack, they were its heart and soul. With their suave charm, sharp suits, and velvet voices, they redefined cool in post-war America. But while their chemistry on stage was electric and their bond looked unshakable to the world, behind the scenes, their relationship was far more complicated. A brotherhood marked by laughter, loyalty, betrayal, and a devastating loss that changed everything. Their story begins long before the bright lights of Las Vegas, with Dean Martin, born Dino Paul Crosetti in 1917 in Steubenville, Ohio. He was a tough, street-smart kid who boxed under the name Kid Crochet, working bare-knuckle fights to survive. He didn't come from wealth or privilege. His father was a barber. His mother raised him and his brother with grit and resilience. And by age 15, he was already taking hits in smoky basements. But Dean had more than fists. He had a voice that would change his life. Moving to New York, he sang in small clubs and even boxed in his apartment for rent money. He worked illegal casinos, called himself Dino Martini, and slowly built a reputation, until finally catching the attention of big band leaders. But his life truly changed in 1944 when he met a young comedian named Jerry Lewis. What started as a random compliment sparked a decade-long partnership that would make history. Their act, Dean singing while Jerry caused chaos, was a hit, and soon they were headlining at the Copa, taking over radio, television, and Hollywood. But fame can strain even the strongest partnerships. Dean began to resent being seen as just a straight man while Jerry soaked up the spotlight. Their friendship crumbled, and in 1956, exactly 10 years after they debuted, they split for good. But Dean's next chapter would be just as iconic. That's when he truly found his stride and reconnected with an old acquaintance named Frank Sinatra. They had first met in the 1940s, but it wasn't until they starred together in Some Came, running in 1958, that their friendship took off. Together, they formed the Rat Pack with Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, and Joey Bishop, 5 entertainers who didn't just rule Vegas, they redefined it. They performed with martinis in hand, cracking jokes and ad-libbing songs, often making fun of each other with a charm that audiences couldn't get enough of. They weren't just performers, they were a phenomenon. But beyond the jokes and tuxedos, they also took a stand. At a time when racial segregation was still rampant in America, the Rat Pack refused to perform at venues that discriminated against Black or Jewish performers. They weren't just entertainers, they were influencers, using their fame to push for real change. Behind the glitz, though, Dean was always a family man. He married 3 times and had 8 children. His longest and most public marriage was to beauty queen Jean Beaker, and for over 20 years, they were Hollywood's golden couple. But like many fairy tales in Tinseltown, that too ended in divorce. And even though Dean joked about it, "I'm no gentleman," he said about letting Jean file first, those losses left a mark. Still, he stayed devoted to his children, especially his son Dean Paul Martin Jr., known as Dino. Dino was everything Dean admired: handsome, talented, athletic, and driven. He became a singer, actor, and even a fighter pilot in the California Air National Guard. But in 1987, Dean's world shattered when Dino's jet disappeared during a routine training flight. For 3 days, rescuers searched the San Gorgonio Mountains, the same range where Sinatra's mother had died in a crash 10 years earlier. Frank stood by Dean's side, but it was no use. When the wreckage was found and it was confirmed that Dino had died at just 35, something inside Dean broke. He withdrew from public life, His sharp wit dulled, his once dazzling smile faded. Sinatra, hoping to revive their bond, invited him on a massive Rat Pack reunion tour. But Dean hated every minute. The crowds, the lights, the noise, it all felt hollow without Dino. He forgot lyrics, looked lost on stage, and in one infamous moment, even flicked a lit cigarette into the crowd. It wasn't the lovable drunk act anymore. It was real pain in a tuxedo. One night, Dean slammed the door on Sinatra and Sammy and boarded a jet home never to return. But the final crack in their friendship may have come even earlier, on Dean's 49th birthday in 1966. That night at the Polo Lounge, Dean, Frank, and a few friends, including tough guy Jilly Rizzo, were celebrating when a wealthy businessman named Frederick Wiseman asked them to quiet down. Sinatra, never one to take criticism, reportedly exploded. Depending on who you ask, he threw a telephone at Wiseman, insulted him, or maybe got punched himself. But what's clear is that Wiseman ended up unconscious with a fractured skull, and the whole incident spiraled into a police investigation. Dean, who liked peace and privacy, was horrified. That birthday ended not with cake and laughter, but with silence, scandal, and the first crack in a friendship that once felt bulletproof. After that, Dean started to pull away. He stopped returning. Sinatra's calls, avoided public appearances, and quietly chose a more peaceful life. Sinatra never stopped trying. He called, invited, visited, but Dean was done with the drama. The flashy lifestyle, the chaos, the endless spotlight, it wasn't worth it anymore. As the years passed, the king of cool faded from the public eye. Diagnosed with lung cancer in 1993, he refused surgery, and by Christmas 1995, he passed away. At 78, alone, quietly, and exactly 29 years to the day after his own mother's death. The world mourned, and Sinatra wept for the friend he had lost, not just in death, but long before. So, what really ended the bond between Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra? Was it grief, chaos, a birthday gone wrong, or just two men growing apart? Whatever the reason, their story is a reminder that even the brightest stars can burn out in silence. If you found this story moving, drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Hollywood Bulletin, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another untold legend from the golden age of Hollywood.